Hi everyone. So now I will just made an announcement, so you have the links. And now I will open Slido with questions. So I noticed that last time I accidentally didn't cover some of the questions, so maybe they came in last minute before I noticed them. So that's why I kept the same Slido link as previously. So we will just continue here. So how many people are already watching? 4 people. Hi everyone. So I will open it on my phone as well, so I see what you write in live chat. Hey everyone. So how is it going with your project so far? Everyone selected the data set and started, I don't know, train the model and things like this? So I think, yeah, because I already shared the link in Telegram. Do I need to do anything else? Yeah, I'll probably just share my screen. And we will start covering questions. Okay, I hope it's visible, right? So I think this question from Tom is from the previous, from our previous office hours. So Tom was also in Italy. Cool. Could you please explain the topic of cohorts for our projects? And I think this is, so this cohorts is confusing for many people. So it's actually good to say it one more time. So if I go to MLOps Zoomcamp, and if I select this project here, you see that in this project there are 2 cohorts. One cohort that already started and deadline is 15th of August, so it's like 1 week only left. And then the second cohort starts immediately after the first cohort. So what's the deal with these cohorts? So the cohorts are, so it means that you will have 2 chances to do a project. So let's say you started the course later than others, right? So you've been catching up, and now you're taking week 5, right? So you can still take week 5, week 6, and finish taking the course before you start working on the project, and then you can start working on the project, and you will still have time to actually submit a project as a part of the second cohort, right? So that's the idea. So now people who work on the first cohort, they start probably from the very beginning, and now they work on the project, they submit the project. So actually there is a form now. So you submit the project here, right? And then you review this, right? So there is another form for reviewing. And actually maybe we can also take a look at this a bit later. And then there are deadlines for this, right? So there are deadlines for this, and then after these deadlines, you cannot submit your project in the first cohort, because like here you submit your project and then peer review starts, right? So in order to start peer review, we already need submitted projects. So then you evaluate each other, right? And this is like the first cohort, the first iteration. When it's over, we do the same thing another time. Yet one more time. So that's the idea. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I hope I am. But basically, TLDR is you have another chance to do your project if you couldn't do it in the first attempt. Or maybe you're just taking things slower. You don't spend a lot of time working on the project. Then you can start working on the project right now. But instead of being in a hurry and submitting it for the first cohort, you just submit it for the second. That's like up to you. You can do it the way you want. Then maybe let's talk about the criteria. So here we have the criteria which you need to use to evaluate your peers, and you can also use this criteria to understand what kind of expectations there are from your project, right? And when you evaluate your peers, you will need to open their code ideally, if you want, you can also run it. It's welcome, it's encouraged, but you don't strictly have to. You must, like, it's not like we force you to do this, because it might be difficult, right? And you don't want to get like a, because it also costs money, right? To run these things. So we don't want to force you. But if you want, and we encourage you to try to run these things from your peers, and then you can. For most of these things, you do not actually need to run it. You can just look at the description and see, okay, is the description there or not? But some things, for example, like model deployment, the model is there, but you want to, if you want, you can try to see it actually works, right? And for that, you might need to deploy this thing yourself. If you want, of course. I think what I missed here and what we had in the previous iterations is some sort of like asking people to attach some sort of a screenshot or a video to show that this thing is actually working. Maybe I should think about this one more time before the project finishes, so you can actually know this. Yeah, maybe somewhere here in reproducibility that there is also like a screenshot or a video of a working thing at the end. But let me think about this. But so far, yeah, just let me know what other questions you have about this. Again, I saw a question about whether you need to run it or not. You do not strictly have to, but if you want, you're welcome to run it. And then, yeah, most of these things you can just evaluate by looking at the code alone. Another thing, the way it works is 3 people do this, and then we take an average, and this is your final score. Okay, so let me see what are the questions here. So can we send our project in one of these cohort duration, and what is the start date? Yeah, I think I answered that, right? So the start date for project 2 cohort is written here. So unfortunately, it will co-occur. It will happen at the same time with our MLOps, Zoomcamp, sorry, machine learning Zoomcamp. But yeah, I think for if you're taking this course, probably ML Zoomcamp for you is pretty basic. So I hope it's not a big deal for you. Anyways, can we send our project to one of these cohorts? Yeah, that's the whole point, I guess, if I understand the question correctly. Is there a minimum number of points required to pass the project? I don't think I will be able to meet every criteria. It's fine, you do not have to meet every criteria. And so, for example, for data engineering Zoomcamp, the passing score was half of the max score. So I think almost everyone passed. There was maybe one person who didn't pass. Yeah, I think it will be very difficult for you to fail this project if you actually do something. And yeah, you don't need to strive for perfection. So for example, I know that this section about AAC, infrastructure as code, came pretty late, right? When some of you might already started working on the project. So then if you don't feel like, investing time in learning this topic and then doing it for you, then yeah, it's fine to just keep it, right? And then maybe later you can come back to this and do this. And then, for example, CI/CD, the same things with CI/CD, right? So if you don't feel, I would classify it as a nice to have more than as a must have. So maybe focus first on the essential parts, and then nice to haves should happen at the end. Yeah, I'm also curious to know, like, these 2 weeks, is it sufficient or not? Like, how exactly, what are you doing right now? So maybe you can write in chat, what are you working on right now? Which stage of the project are you in? Because I saw that somebody just yesterday selected the data set. Yeah, I mean, this is like, of course, like they should have done this earlier, but I'm just curious, like at what stage you are in. If you have any troubles getting started, please let us know if you need any help with this. Yeah, another question from Tom. How peer review assignment will be organized? I can tell you, I can show you how it was organized for our previous course. So data engineering Zoomcamp. So for data engineering Zoomcamp, we also had 2 cohorts of projects. I actually don't know if cohort is the right word here, if it's helping or confusing people, but anyways. So yeah, we had this peer assignment link, and then for each person, for the reviewer, there was 3 assignments. So this, like this person got 3 assignments, and what they needed to do is for each of them, for each of the assignments, open it and yeah, score, evaluate the project, right? And then they needed to put for each project, so you put the hash, so hash for the project. It actually must be, I need to make it mandatory, like it's not an optional one. So then what you do is you, where it is? So you take this project hash, you put it here. Remember, it's a project hash. It's not your, not yet the URL, because cleaning this data is a little bit complex. So it's not the URL, it's the hash. So put the hash here, put your email here, and yeah, just go through this. And yeah, that's how it's organized. And then after the deadline, when everyone submitted their peer evaluation, peer review, then we have a script that we will run, that will calculate the average score, and we will update the leaderboard. And I can also show you how it looks like. The leaderboard with projects. Yeah, we probably have the leaderboard here. Yeah, right. Yeah, project 1, and then yeah, like for each dimension there is score, and then there is project total, how many points you get for the project, and then you need to review 3 other projects. So then you get some points for that. Like for each project you evaluate, you get 3 points, and then you can also share your learning in public links and so on. And then you get, this way you get the total score. And then if you don't evaluate, for example, some people didn't evaluate their peers here, you will not pass a project. So it's not an optional step to evaluate peers. You need to evaluate your peers, because somebody also needs to review your work, right? So that's why it's not an optional one, and you have to do this. Otherwise, you will not pass your project. And that's pretty much it. So yeah. I don't know, do you have any other questions? So I don't know if we should have any office hours next week. I guess you're busy with projects. What I'm worried about is I don't see a lot of questions in Slack now that when we work on the course, and I'm afraid that you are stuck, you don't know what to do, and we will not have a lot of projects. So yeah, if you feel stuck, if you need help with anything, please let us know, or just maybe write in Slack saying, hey, I'm working on the project, this is the idea I have, and everything is okay. I am on track, or I'm a little bit behind, or something like this, so we just know if everything is all right or not. So I'm a little bit worried that this silence means that you do not work on your projects. Yeah, I don't see any more questions from you. So yeah, thanks for joining in today. I'll stop sharing my screen. I'm actually wondering how many people are watching right now. 12 people. So hi everyone. I noticed that with every week we have fewer and fewer people, but I guess by the end of the course you have fewer questions, so that's fine. Let me quickly take a look in the chat because I see there are some comments and questions there as well. Vinyak, sorry if I mispronounce your name. I don't really understand your question, sorry. What is the during the... are you asking if we will have a new iteration of the course, or... I don't know. Yep. We will have a new iteration of the course in 1 year, in May 2023. So if you are thinking of whether you need to do, if you want to do a project or not. Better do, because the next chance you will be able to get a certificate will be in 1 year. So pretty long time. So yeah, another question. Do you have so let me check Slido. Yeah, I will share my screen again so everyone actually sees the questions. So I'll try, Antonis, I'll try to pronounce your name correctly. Did you say last time it was like Adonis? Adonis? Yeah, sorry. Maybe I'm not making any progress with pronouncing your name. I apologize for that. Probably in a few weeks, we will organize an actual Zoom call with all the students. So I will be able to learn from you how to actually pronounce your name. I apologize because I probably really butchered it. So anyways, your question is, do you have any advice on how to make the repo reproducible? Because if I add cloud dependencies, it would not be easy, I think. So here, reproducibility is not only in, just do make, run all, and everything just runs. Here, reproducibility is also having the right documentation that describes what you need to do. So for example, when it comes to cloud dependencies, you can say, let's say if you use Terraform, then you can say to set up the Terraform, to set up the infrastructure with Terraform, you need to run this command, right? Or this is the kind of configuration you need to do to make Terraform run, and then you run Terraform command. So you're trying to be somewhat verbose in your documentation, and you try to say what are the steps you need to make and in which sequence to actually run this thing. So if somebody wants to reproduce this in the environment, then they have all the information that they need to do this. So that can mean that I don't know, you need to go to AWS and create a role with these permissions, or you can just say, okay, run this Terraform command, and then it will all happen, right? Things like this. What else? But then it's also like how exactly in which sequence you run things after you get all the cloud dependencies. Like what do you do? Like how you create a virtual environment, or how do you build a Docker image? If you use make, you can just say, okay, make, I don't know, make build or something like this. If you don't use make, then you can say, to build a Docker image, I do this. To run tests, I do this. Things like this. And so then people who go through this documentation, they immediately know what they need to run to actually to make it work. Yeah, I hope it's clear now. Last office hours, you said you will make a video to explain more about streaming deployment. Can you give a concrete example? Okay, I think what I promised last week, I still need to do. Yeah, apologies. I was pretty exhausted last week and I didn't do this yet. So what I promised to do is that last video in the deployment section, deployment model, which was about selecting which way of deployment you should choose, whether it's streaming or web service or batch. And actually, maybe you know Chip, I don't know like how to pronounce her last name. Yeah, Chip Nguyen, I would pronounce it like this. She actually published a new blog post about streaming, introduction to streaming for data scientists. Yeah, I think it came, like she published it last week. I think I saw it. And yeah, you can actually check it out. It's an interesting one. And when here she explains where you need to use streaming for machine learning use cases. It's a pretty long read. It's a pretty comprehensive read. So yeah, check it out. Maybe it will, while I'm still gathering all my energy to make this one last video that I promised you, maybe you can check this out, because there is a lot of useful information here. So yeah, it's just Google Chip's name, then it's the first link, and then go to blog, and this is her last blog post. Yeah. and I will try to record that video. What else? Yeah, I can share the link, of course. Let me find it. Here is the link. So it's actually, I don't know why it's a bit delayed. Yeah, it should be this. Yeah, that's me now. I hope you see the link. Yeah, I see the link from my phone. Good. But here your question, I see a more question is, can you explain a simple streaming deployment? I am not sure I understand the question, so probably it is already explained in the lectures. I think if something is not clear in the lectures, maybe you can say which part is not clear and I'll try to explain it. I would, you probably need to check the first video, the introductory video, where I show different scenarios, like what is budget deployment, what is streaming deployment, what is web service deployment. And there I talk about simple use cases for stream. Yeah, maybe they are not super clear. I'll be happy to elaborate, but I'm just not sure if you actually watched them or not. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, because there I explained a simple streaming deployment, and then we actually had an entire video that shows how to implement this. So I don't know what else I can add here. Yeah, anything else? I actually don't have a drink with me today. Yeah, maybe I should get something for the next one. So, yeah, I know that there is a bit of delay between me talking and you hearing this. So maybe somebody of you are now thinking what exactly to ask. I don't want to end the stream like last time when there were actually questions, but I didn't see them. That's why I finished. But then on the other hand, we can do the same thing. So if you now come up with a question, but I don't manage to answer it because I don't see it, we can just cover it next time. And yeah, there is a question if, yeah, I'll get to drinks. The question if you can ask a question outside of this current curriculum. You can try to ask. I don't promise I will be able to answer it, but yeah, you can try. And next time, indeed, I'll have two drinks. Maybe I should partner with some of the beverage companies in Berlin, so they will give me some supply, so then I can drink during streams. That would be a good deal. How many of you are actually from Berlin? Just wondering. Because we will probably have next week or in 2 weeks, we'll have a community lunch in Berlin. So if any one of you is around or planning to come to Berlin, we have a channel in Slack called Meetings Germany. Check it out. So we will post an announcement there. Okay, so what is your question outside of the current curriculum, Aladipo? I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Well, feel free to also ask questions in Slack. Like maybe if your question is about career, you can just use our career advice channel. Or was it career advice or career questions? I don't remember. So yeah, you can ask your questions there. And you can also ask questions in our podcasts. So we have quite a few podcast events, like interviews, lined up. So for example, this week we will talk about growing a data engineering team. So if your question that you have, the question you have outside of the current curriculum is about growing a data engineering team, or it's about data mesh, or creating data sets, or talking about machine learning to people outside of machine learning, or I don't know, responsible and explainable AI, then check this out and then come to these events and then ask your questions there. Or maybe you have some idea, you want to have a podcast episode, podcast interview about some topic, then you can also reach out and we can try to arrange that. Okay, yeah, I can actually see the question here. So while I was talking, the question appeared. For a batch transform job in production, is it advisable to make a machine learning pipeline? Okay, I don't know what is MLOps pipeline. A machine learning pipeline is the pipelines we talked about here in this course, like with Prefect. Is it advisable? Depends. So let's say if your job is just a simple script that loads the data, like, I don't know, depending on the complexity of what you need to do. Sometimes you just have a script and you can run it as a cron job. But the moment you have multiple dependencies, when you need to, I don't know, first run SQL job, then run something else, then you need to start chaining these things. And for that, you need ML, like a workflow orchestrator. And yeah, like you can create a training pipeline with this workflow orchestrator. I don't know if this is what you referred to as to, like, if this is what you call ML pipeline. Maybe you mean something else by ML pipeline or MLOps pipeline. Maybe you actually mean a CI/CD pipeline for automatic retraining, for automatically retraining things. I don't know. Yeah, like, you don't always need to have it, but when the project grows, then you should have it. And maybe actually, frankly, for this course, maybe we could actually do just one script and run it, like put it in Docker and just run it as a cron job. But yeah, usually this is not how you do it for bigger projects. Yeah, I mean, if this is working for you, so you say that this is how you do this at the moment, just basic load and run script with cron job. If this is working for you, I see no reason for changing this. But again, remember the first video from Kevin about, was it negative engineering, right? So many things can go wrong. And if you see that in your batch script becomes more and more complex because he needs to add these edge cases, then yeah, it's time to switch to a workflow orchestrator. It's also time to switch to a workflow orchestrator when you have more than, I don't know, 3 cron jobs, because maintaining a cron tab, like a cron tab, is very difficult to maintain, right? You can easily accidentally reset it. So it happened to me a few times because I think to edit a cron tab on a Linux machine, you do something like cron tab -e, and then you edit this. And I once wanted to edit this, and instead of writing cron tab -e, I wrote cron tab -r. And E and R are very close on the keyboard. You can check it now on your keyboard. So they are super close. So I just accidentally pressed -r. And -r on cron tab means reset. So it basically deleted all the cron jobs that I had on that computer, and it was not fun trying to recover them. So when you have a workflow orchestrator, things like this do not happen. But if you just have one job, one project and one job, like, maybe you don't need that to get started. Okay, now, do we have more questions? Which other topics will be? Yeah, I mean, you can just go to MLOps Zoomcamp, our course repository, and then check the list of topics. I'm not sure I actually understood your question. Like, did I answer that or not? So these are the topics, so you can see the models here. Yeah. But I'm surprised you're actually asking about this. Maybe this is the first time you join the stream, then it's understandable. But if it's not, then I might not be fully understanding the question. Okay, I guess that's it. Or is it not? Yeah, it's kind of awkward to just stare on the screen waiting on the screen waiting for questions to come. Yeah, so I guess we should be wrapping up. Yeah, please let us know, write something in chat how you are doing on your project. if everything is fine, please also write something like, hey, I'm working on this data set and I'm doing this and this and this. So first, to let us know that you're not lost, and second, to give inspiration to other students so they might also get some idea what they can try for their projects. Okay, that would be it for today, I guess. And now let's see if we actually need to do something next week. Well, probably not. But yeah, let's see. And yeah, if you're behind, please also let us know, because 2 weeks might be too little for a project. So let us know if you get delayed and if we need to extend the deadline. If it's just one person who for some reasons waited to select a data set for 1 week, I don't think it's a good excuse to give a delay. But if it's everyone because it's simply not enough time, then of course we will be happy to extend the deadline. So let us know. And yeah, have fun working on the project. So I think I should stop sharing my screen. And yeah,